I went to a retreat where many people who had terminal illnesses, who had illnesses that the medical establishment uh, couldn't do anything about because they said that they it was out of their ability or it didn't happen before. Nobody treated this successfully before, so there's no way that regular medication or medical treatment could help. But then they went to this retreat. They were taught that there are there were possibilities that you could heal yourself, you could transform yourself. So there is an experiment that shows that if you have a plan B, or if you know that there is an easier way to achieve, to get your reward, you may not be motivated to follow your original plan. So the experiment was like this. A group of people were given a puzzle to solve, and if they can solve those puzzles, their reward would be having snacks, right? And at first, they were very motivated to solve those puzzles, and many of them try really hard, and it's was proved by the time and the energy they put into solving the puzzle so that they can get the reward. But later on, some scientists come along and they ask those people that if you cannot solve these puzzles, there are still snacks down the hall. You can get them. You don't have to solve the puzzle to get the snacks or the reward. And automatically, the effort, the energy, and the time that the same people put into solving the puzzle were reduced, and they didn't have that maybe motivation or incentive to solve the puzzle because they know that regardless of whether they can solve the puzzles, they still can get snacks. And that was what happened to that experiment. So I also heard a story about a general who, brought his army to fight in war, and when he um, got to the shore, he told his army to burn down all the ships because he said that whether you win or you die, there is no way back. And ultimately, he won the battle. So it is like a trick to our mind. We always want something easy. If something easy to get, why try the hard way, right? If something is that we can achieve using less effort, we should use that to replace the harder way. That's a good way to to do anything in life. But sometimes having having a plan B could potentially reduce or make you less interested in your original plan, because you say, oh, if I fail this, then I'll have another plan. I shouldn't be too worried about carrying out this plan A. So there are two things here. First, if you know that there is an easier way to achieve your goal, then go for it. That's what technology, that's what modern life can provide and can help you with complicated problems with less time, right? Nowadays, you can travel to different countries by airplane, which is faster and more convenient. You don't need to sit down and build your horse or ox cart to travel, right? So choose another and easier way to go and to get to your destination. Okay, that's that is one aspect of that. But the second aspect of the mentioned experiment is that sometimes you have so many options, and instead of giving you the free will, it's kind of take away your effort. It takes away your motivation. It takes away your uh, willpower to try your best, to put all the effort that you could into the thing that you do. And because you have so many options, you become confused, and your will is not as strong as those who, you know, only have one option. So let's think about an example. If you were poor, you would try all the best you can to get out of that situation, because if you don't do it, you will be poor and you cannot support your family, you cannot support yourself. And that is why maybe being poor is a kind of motivation that you need, right? And for some people who are not poor, who not rich but not poor, they have different options. They can work, or they can work hard, or they can just work, you know, at a minimum speed or minimum uh, power. So they just get by. They will not be starved to death. They will not be homeless. They can survive with working minimally, right? So they have options. They can choose different jobs. They can quit if they want, but their um, effort is always in the middle. There's no strong will to kind of make a breakthrough. In contrast, if you are poor and you don't, if you don't work, if you don't try, you cannot get out of this situation. And I know many people who are from developing countries trying to be successful in America, and there's no way. If they don't work hard, they don't study, they will never um, be successful, never bring their situation or their family out of that poverty. Okay, myself included, when I applied to Harvard, or try to do something that I know if I fail, then I will not be able to change my life, right? So, given that, having a plan B is important, but if you think that having a plan B would reduce the effort, then maybe having a plan B is just an excuse, okay? because it's not that, there there are different ways you can achieve something. Yeah, there are different ways you can achieve something, but when you put your work into something, you do it wholeheartedly. Like, you do anything is you do everything. Okay, that's just the law. That's just how you build your character. Okay, so this is like meditation. If you um, think that, okay, if I don't meditate, I would have different ways to relax, to help me calm, to bring peace to my life, then when you sit down and you find that, oh, meditation is so hard, I cannot focus, I cannot be calmer, I cannot be less anxious, then you would give up after a few sessions. Okay, but if you find that, okay, meditation is the only path, only way for me to get myself overcome my problems, this is the only way I would try. I Then you would have that motivation. I went to a retreat where many people who had terminal illnesses, who had illnesses that the medical establishment uh, couldn't do anything about, because they said that they it was out of their ability, or it didn't happen before. Nobody treated this successfully before, so there's no way that regular medication or medical treatment could help. But then they went to this retreat. They were taught that there are there were possibilities that you could heal yourself, you could transform yourself. You just have to be uh, a new version, the version that uh, didn't have the disease other than the current one. So when they heard that, they had hope, and they were determined to achieve, to overcome themselves. And the thing is that they meditate not to heal, but to change themselves, because the rule is, if you become a new version, then the disease is in the old version, not in the new version. Okay, so they meditate, and this, because there's no way back, because they cannot go back to the hospital, because the hospital already told them that there was no way they can be cured, right? So there's no way back, and that's why they just okay, this is the only final path that I take, and they take it very seriously, like the solving the puzzle. Without the second option, that without solving the puzzle they still get the snack. No, no more second option. So they put all the effort into their meditation. They do exactly what they were instructed, and they overcome themselves. And when they overcome themselves, they was healed. And that was magical, because they didn't have any other choice. Okay? So think about that for a moment. What if this is the only way? What if now is the only time? There's no tomorrow. There's no plan B. This is the only one life that we were given. There's no other life at all. What if we make it count? What if today is the day that we do it? Today is the day we start being someone new. Today is the day we sit down to be with ourselves for 10 minutes. Today is the day you reconcile with someone you love. Otherwise, you'll be regret for the rest of your life. What if there's only one option? The illusion that our modern society gives us is that it's not freedom when giving us so many options. It's not freedom. You just have the variety of things. You don't have freedom. When you choose something, you're caught up in that perception of that thing. You don't have freedom to choose. Don't think about that as freedom. That's not freedom or not free will. You are conditioned already. Okay? So sometimes having option is good, but many times in terms of personal development, having freedom, having so many options is not good. And having freedom means that you have only one thing, one time, one opportunity, and you have the freedom to take it. And you decide whether you want to take it or not. So that is the freedom. Freedom must come from you, not from the conditions that the media or the advertisements and other things that condition you to do. Okay, so think about that. What if today is that day? Is that day? If not now, then when? Because we have been conditioned for our whole life, and when we act or react, we don't even know that we are reacting, because we are so conditioned and automatic that we don't really know which is ours and which is conditions. So think about that. And I think freedom is the choice that you make today, not waiting for something, not waiting for other options. I hope you have a good, time in choosing what to do, and that is your freedom.